All right, just high level, let's discuss the idea of keywords on websites because this is a question that we get all the time. What keywords do I need to include on my website? And so think about it from a customer perspective. This person gets home, they're walking up to their house, they trip, they fall, like they're annoyed now. They've seen this thing, they've stepped over it, for probably over a year or two now. And now the day is the day when they finally trip and fell. And now they're going to grab their phone when they get into the house and sit down. And so, what are they going to search for? And ultimately, that is the idea of keywords: is what are people looking for? And in particular, with concrete lifting, people don't like generally know what concrete lifting is, right? Like they're not experienced with it. They don't know the difference between polyfoam or mud jacking. Like they may not have even ever heard these terms in their life. They just know they have a trip hazard. So this person might grab their phone and go to Google or grab ChatGPT, pull that up, and just speak to it and say, why or how do I fix my sinking walkway? It's a trip hazard. And like at that moment, that is when like most concrete lifting businesses like miss the opportunity to reach that customer. And so why is that? Ultimately, if you break down what this person just searched for, if they grab their phone and they search for, things like my walkway is a trip hazard, if a website doesn't have that word trip hazard on it or those two words, they're not likely to show up for that search because ultimately AI and Google, they're looking for a match between what somebody searched for and what's on a website. And when those align, then you're prone to pop up. But if at the basic level you don't have that terminology on your website, it's not likely that you are going to show up. And yes, we do have certain keywords that we're always trying to target that are, more likely than others to be often searched for. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what are people seeing in front of them at their homes, at their businesses, right? So, we need to translate that into terminology on a website. So I'll show you a site right here that we are redoing. This is not the site that we built, but this is the existing site. And you can see they lead with concrete repair services, which isn't the strongest match for concrete lifting. Not incorrect, but not a strong match. And there's just not a lot of content on the site. That's more or less it on the homepage. And so, with a limited amount of content comes a limited amount of opportunity to weave in these different words that people are searching for. So, if we jump over to this tool that we have on our website that just quickly scans websites for about 30 different keywords that we explicitly look for. You'll notice here this one currently only has a handful of these terms that we look for. They don't have terminology like concrete lifting, concrete raising, all these different terms, void filling, sidewalk. So if somebody goes to Google and they type in walkway lifting near me, this company is going to have a hard time popping up because they don't have that word walkway, right? So that's the same idea. Same thing with like trip hazards. If this person here searches for trip hazards and the word trip hazard is not on the web page, it's going to make it hard to pop up. So you're going to miss out on that business. So that again is the highest level, include all the different terminology. So how does that look on a web page, right? So here is the site that we are building for them. And we pack a lot of content into this. And you'll notice that a lot of guys are like, why do we need so much information? And the answer is one, it is going to answer people's questions that they come to your website looking for answers for. At the same time, it's going to help you pop up on Google and AI searches. So you'll notice we include all that different terminology. We weave it throughout the website. We go through all the different settings that people typically need work done at their homes. And so again, you are building trust with people, and at the same time, you are at that high level idea. You are answering people's questions. So now you are a match with what they are searching for when you have this content on your website. If somebody searches for why do I have a void under my patio, the fact that you have the words void filling on there are going to give you the opportunity to pop up on Google for that. And if your website doesn't have that, you're not going to pop up. So again, very high level, that's what this idea of keywords is all about. And ultimately, at the end of the day, again, in this industry, people don't know the lingo. They just know, hey, I see a problem in my home. I have pooling water. I have a trip hazard. I have a sinking slab. I have a void, like all these different things. They just describe what they see visually. And so you've got to be able to weave that into the site. And the same thing, on the actual different pages that we build out for all the different settings. If you can answer all the questions that people have for all these different settings, you're going to be able to pop up on Google searches, on AI searches, because you have this information. You are a match when somebody is searching for that. If somebody, for instance, has an issue at their factory floor and they say, hey, how do we fix a sinking factory floor? Well, the fact that you have this information, you show examples and you talk about this, and you answer, you weave in all that lingo and terminology in there, it's going to give you the chance to pop up on Google and AI searches. So at the end of the day, answer people's questions, what you hear day in and day out about what problems they have. If you can translate onto the website with that information, you're gonna get found and you're gonna sell a lot more jobs.